Let me go.
Why would I do that after building his...
The story of the film begins with a 10-year-old child, Natasha. She was with her father in a nightclub, happy and enjoying herself. We know her parents are separated. That night, Natasha's father was so drunk that he forgot to send his daughter home early, even though she had school in the morning. Late at night, he finally took her back to her mother's house. Natasha only slept for 2 hours before her mother woke her up for school. Still feeling tired, Natasha told her mother she was sleepy. Her mom scolded her, saying that nightclubs were not for kids. She warned Natasha that if she went to a nightclub again, she wouldn't allow her to go out with her father. Natasha protested, saying that her father loved her and wanted to make her happy, unlike her mother. This angered her mother, who hit her. However, she immediately regretted it and tried to apologize, but Natasha, upset, grabbed her bag and left for school. As she walked down the road, a man got out of a car and kidnapped her. A little girl witnessed the kidnapping. The kidnapper then took Natasha to his home. Upon entering the house, he locked her in an underground room. Shortly after, Natasha regained consciousness and found herself in a small, isolated room. It was locked. That's when she realized she had been kidnapped. The person who kidnapped her entered the room, took her bed, and left. Natasha screamed for help and made noise, but it was useless. She soon noticed the room was soundproofed. The only way out was a small ventilation hole. 3 days after her kidnapping, the man, whose name was Wolfgang, entered the room with some food and storybooks. When he arrived, Natasha was afraid and remained silent. He read the stories to her, and when he was about to leave, Natasha asked him to kiss her on the forehead, as her mother used to do. Hesitant at first, Wolfgang eventually kissed her on the forehead and left. The next day, Wolfgang watched the news about Natasha's kidnapping. His mother, who frequently visited to cook and clean for him, saw the report as well. Surprised, she asked her son about the kidnapped girl. Wolfgang responded that whoever had kidnapped such a child must be insane and would surely be arrested. After his mother finished cleaning and cooking, she left. Later, Wolfgang went to Natasha to wash her hair. Natasha asked him to deliver a message to her mother, assuring her that she was in good health because she knew her mother would be worried. However, Wolfgang refused, telling her that he had demanded a ransom from her family. If they truly loved her, they would pay. He informed her that he had contacted them, but they had not responded. He implied that her family did not love her. Furious, Natasha yelled at him, calling him a liar. Unable to bear her words, Wolfgang drowned her. He washed her with soapy water before leaving the room. Before stepping out, he ordered her to clean the space and warned that if she did not, he would kill her. One day, Wolfgang, his mother, and his grandmother were in the garden when the police arrived at the house, asking to conduct a search. A young girl had witnessed Wolfgang kidnapping another little girl. After thoroughly searching the premises, the police found nothing. They then questioned Wolfgang about his whereabouts at the time of the incident. He claimed he had been asleep. And with no evidence against him, the police left. In this scene, Natasha was deeply saddened, missing her parents. Meanwhile, Wolfgang entered her room carrying food. Natasha asked him to get her a watch so she could count the days and determine how long she had been kidnapped. He agreed, but under one condition: she had to obey his words. She reluctantly accepted, and he set up a communication device between them. Suddenly, Natasha asked, "Do you feel lonely like me?" Wolfgang remained silent and left. That night, he pondered her question, searching for its deeper meaning, but no answer came to him. By morning, 183 days had passed since Natasha's kidnapping. As time went on, she began adjusting to the situation and played inside the room, pretending to be a professor. She even drew a cat on the wall. Wolfgang then started communicating with her through the device, instructing her to brush her teeth and follow his commands. Natasha complied. In one scene, she smeared food onto her skin to deceive Wolfgang into believing she had a skin disease. When he came to her, she claimed she was sick and needed medical attention. However, upon examining her hands, Wolfgang immediately realized it was a trick. Enraged, he decided to punish her by depriving her of food for 4 days. During this time, Natasha survived only on water, becoming increasingly weak and exhausted. Through the device, Wolfgang demanded she obey his orders. Fearful of further punishment, Natasha agreed. 4 years after her kidnapping, Natasha was in an unstable state. She looked pale, had lost significant weight, and had reached puberty. She asked Wolfgang for permission to shower in the house and see sunlight for the first time since she was taken. He agreed, but warned her that he had placed explosives on the doors and windows in case she tried to escape. Indeed, Natasha was able to take a shower and bask in the sunlight. In this scene, Wolfgang's mother noticed a hair on his clothes and was thrilled, thinking he had a girlfriend. Through this, we learn that Wolfgang suffered from a psychological condition, something his mother had long suspected. However, Wolfgang grew angry and, as a result, decided to shave all of Natasha's hair. On the 1837th day of her captivity, coinciding with Christmas Day, Natasha was feeling unusually joyful. She placed a crown on her head and celebrated alone. Suddenly, Wolfgang entered, bringing a camera and gifts. He asked her to open them while he photographed her. Among the gifts were 3 books. Natasha was overjoyed by the gifts, and they celebrated together. She asked Wolfgang to let her call her parents, but he refused, growing angry. He told her to forget them as if they had died and informed her that her new name was Vivi. In this scene, Natasha helped Wolfgang renovate her room. She asked him if she could go outside to see the garden. He agreed, but he tied her hands to his own. When they stepped into the garden together, Wolfgang suddenly dragged her back inside and began treating her harshly, throwing food on the ground for her to eat like an animal. 2029 days after Natasha was kidnapped, she went out for the first time with Wolfgang to the supermarket. He threatened her, saying that if she asked anyone for help, he would kill her. He also claimed to be carrying a gun. As they entered one of the stores, Natasha looked at the people with sadness, unsure how to ask for help or escape. Wolfgang then picked up some paint so they could work on her room. After returning home, they continued renovating. After 2,175 days had passed since her kidnapping, Natasha saw her completed room and was delighted. In this scene, she listened to her story on the radio and learned that her parents believed she was dead. Natasha asked Wolfgang why he had kidnapped her and not someone else. He told her that he had seen her in a store, smiling and eating cookies, and liked her. Because of this, he had spent 8 months digging to build a room before finally kidnapping her and bringing her there. One day, Natasha decided to commit suicide. She burned several handkerchiefs inside the room, but the smoke overwhelmed her, forcing her to extinguish the fire. When Wolfgang discovered the attempt, he beat her. Natasha began counting how many times Wolfgang hit her, recording each instance on tissue paper and storing them in a box. On the 2847th day of her captivity, Natasha and Wolfgang went skating. At first, Natasha fell easily due to her lightweight body, but over time, she learned how to skate. She was always searching for an opportunity to escape. At one point, she asked Wolfgang to let her use the bathroom. While inside, she found another girl and asked her for help. Unfortunately, the girl was a foreigner and did not understand her language. Heartbroken, Natasha left the bathroom and returned home with Wolfgang. When they arrived, Wolfgang beat her after realizing she had attempted to escape and had asked the girl for help. 3,096 days after Natasha was kidnapped, a period of about 8 years and 4 months, Wolfgang asked her to help him clean his car. He was preparing to sell it, as he had lost his job and had no money. While cleaning, Natasha noticed the door of the house was open. She seized the opportunity and ran to a nearby home, asking the occupants to contact the police. Fortunately, the police were close by. Natasha was overwhelmed with joy when she saw them and told them everything. She revealed that she was Natasha, the girl who had been kidnapped 8 years ago. When Wolfgang learned of Natasha's escape, he went to the train tracks, stood in front of an oncoming train, and committed suicide. The police informed Natasha's family that they had found their daughter. Her parents were in disbelief. When they arrived at the police station, they saw their daughter, 8 years after her disappearance. Natasha was in a very difficult state when she reunited with her mother and father. She had lost 8 years of her life because of the madman, Wolfgang. The film ends. If you're new, please subscribe for more recaps. Have a nice day.